Hey there, Adrienne Elise here. Just thought I would pop in and talk to you about what's going on in the planets and the stars. Welcome to the Gaia Daily for February 27th through 29th. I'm Adrienne Elise. So here we are. We're having a powerful energy with the moon in Aries today. And the moon in Aries has gone over Black Moon, Lilith, and Chiron, coming up with Venus. And you can see Venus and the crescent moon together in the evening sky. Very powerful activation of ancient secrets and deep, dark mysteries of the feminine, as well as Venus comes into a square with Pluto, breaking the chains that have been put on the feminine. So really powerful energy. And we're going to be feeling this for the next week, this Venus in square to Pluto. And it's one of the first square energies we've had since that epic Saturn and Pluto conjunction. So, and interacting with Pluto here, we're getting some more messages about what that was all about. The energy of this Venus square Pluto is like being up against the wall. Capricorn, Pluto and Capricorn represents structures. Capricorn represents structures, authoritarian structures, but just in general, the structures of our life. Now, Venus is talking about the structures of our belief systems around the feminine, or one of the ways you could look at it, one of the important things that's coming up has to do with our self-worth. And because we all have masculine and feminine inside of us. And so when we're talking about healing the feminine, it's within all of us and in our culture, and we know that the feminine has been beaten down. And then what does that represent? It represents our emotional self, our intuitive self, our sensitive self, our compassionate self. And that energy also mysteries of the feminine, the female body has access to life force energy just by the natural makeup of the physical form of the feminine being able to create another life form, give birth and grow another life form. So this is these deep, dark mysteries of the feminine. We know in ancient times, cultures were matriarchal. And yet this feminine energy has become something dirty, dark, wrong, bad, scary, distorted. And this Venus in square to Pluto in Aries. So Aries has an energy. Aries wants to be free, first of all, right? And Capricorn represents the structures that and authority energies and just the structures of our world that keep us from not being free. And in this case, it's like we are up against the wall here in our spiritual evolution. And this is on all levels of life, right? So we can look at this is coming up individually for people because Venus and Mars, like they represent our own individual experience of the masculine and the feminine sides of ourselves. But with Pluto, we're talking collective energy and bigger energies and bigger structures and bigger belief systems. And it's kind of crazy because, of course, we have this Black Moon, Lilith, and Chiron. They both moved. They came together. And then at 2 degrees, and now they're exact at 3 degrees, Aries. And, Venus went over these. And it's like Venus, our regular everyday feminine, is getting massively activated and purified by these fires of Aries. Aries is also the first sign of the zodiac. So it's about a fresh new start. And so maybe a fresh new start in our identity in the female and trying to bring back a balance to our planet. And it's interesting because Venus is also the ruler of Libra, and that's the opposite of Aries. But we're looking at this energy of something coming up here is around justice, like that those matriarchal cultures that were more in balance with nature and in balance with the natural elements and in balance with their relationship to the cosmos and connected, that has a lot to do with the feminine side of ourselves. And yet this has no value in our world. And so if we're going to make this big shift into the Aquarian age, all of this has to be reevaluated. But the way it's manifesting is pretty interesting on all levels of, like collectively, hugely in all the systems of our world, but individually as well. And we're kind of this square energy with Pluto and Venus. It's like Venus wants to break the chains of these programmed beliefs around the feminine. And it brings up, like I said, this energy of self-worth. And when we look at, because Pluto in Capricorn and being so activated this year is speaking to trying to take our power back from the structures of authority of this world. And so Venus is saying, how do I take my power back individually in the feminine? How do I take my power back in my valuing the compassion and the invisible energies of this world and bringing justice back to the earth, And so we're all being highly challenged. Now, this has to do with Mercury retrograde in Pisces. And so there's this energy of challenging our belief systems. And it's like there's kind of this message around like, we can't really move forward and do what we're here to do until you have to like have a huge breakdown. That's a Pluto energy in the structures, but maybe that's our belief system structures with Mercury in retrograde and Pisces. And it's like a total confusion, but we're being at like this wall we're up against has to do with long held belief systems that we're still sticking to. And these belief systems might seem on the surface like they're serving us, and but it's like, if you are not like, what's required for this shift that we're in is kind of like this complete overhaul in what we thought was true. And it's hard to explain. I'm not quite able to put it into words exactly. But anyway, the energy is just like that we're up against the wall and we have to make some massive changes. And this is on all levels of all structures of our life. But specifically, Venus is saying, it's time to break free, for the feminine to break free, have a rebirth out of all the old stories of lower chakra distortions, because the feminine, because it has access to life force, is also associated with sexual energy. And the sexual energy has been so distorted, so demonized, used to for abuse, it's just so prevalent. And so it's like the sexual energy, the pure form of sexual energy is hard to even imagine in our world right now because of all of these distortions. And this is a deliberate program that's gone on from ancient times to keep sexuality in chains in the lower chakras. And but it's power. It's like raw power energy that we all have access to, no matter what body we're in. And this is part of the bigger picture of the delusions and the lies that have to come up in our culture is around power and where we've given our power away. Now, and if we connect that back to self-worth, we can all relate to this feeling of like, well, I've got to do it for the money, I've got to do it to survive. And it's like we've all sold our soul, on some level in order to have what we need to live. And it's like we just live in this paradigm that's okay. And that's not going to work moving forward. We need a big shift here. And it kind of comes back to mysteries around power and how we've been lied to about power and how we have to pay for the power that should be free, that's available within our own bodies, And so it's like there's all these deep, dark, hidden secrets and mysteries that are trying to come to the surface right now. And it just feels like there's this uncomfortable feeling with Venus square Pluto of like everything you thought, you have to reevaluate your belief systems at this point. And it's like Venus and square to Pluto with the Mercury retrograde in Pisces. It's like a complete rearranging of our mental, how we see the world and everything. And it's kind of like you're doing it right if you feel like you're like having a complete shift. It's like we need to challenge our beliefs on all levels. And for some reason, it's like we hold to certain beliefs, not realizing that the underneath story has shifted, right? And so we'll explore this as the days continue, just getting a grasp on this very powerful and potent astrology. And so thank you for being here with me through this time. We also have what's part of this energy has to do with Mars on the South Node right now. We'll be feeling that for the next few days too. And Mars, of course, is in Capricorn and conjunct the South Node, but Mars wants to go and to build and to get on with it. And but the South Node is speaking to everything that's holding us back from the past, right? So it's kind of inflamed right now. It's like we've got this like frustration at moving forward. We got Mercury retrograde rearranging our psyche just in this massive way, and then we've got this Venus square Pluto, where Venus is like ready to break the chains and have the feminine be reborn and purified. It's like Venus kind of seems like Venus and Mars are kind of like, they don't have a certain, they shift with our evolution and what they mean for us. It's like our individual feminine and what's going on with it, and Venus has such a massive activation. Remember back in November with Jupiter going over the galactic center, and then when it was in Aquarius during the eclipse and right in the middle of this beautiful star pattern. And so now Venus is coming up against that wall of what we haven't been able to shift, and much must be revealed. And the message I'm getting around this is like, lies can stay lies as long as they're in the dark, right? But lies brought out to the light, you're going to see the truth. And it's like, but do you want to? Right? This uncomfortable feeling, this Venus square Pluto kind of feels like this uncomfortable feeling when you make a realization, it's like, say that lie comes into the light. Maybe like, with the Venus energy talking about your vulnerabilities and where you trusted someone that maybe you shouldn't have trusted, or they took advantage of you. And when you come to that realization, like this is kind of maybe in the bigger picture of what's going on, realizing the control energies, realizing how we've been kept as slaves, and it like makes you sick to your stomach and you don't want to look at it, and that's this Venus square Pluto, because we've got Black Moon, Lilith, and Chiron right next to each other about healing and revealing the deepest wounds. Black Moon Lilith is definitely speaking to these dark, hidden psychic places associated with sexuality and emotions in the feminine. And so it's all on the table right now. And maybe that's that bigger on the bigger collective energy, like waking up in the collective to the lies we've been told and how we've gone along with this program and we bought into it. And it's just a very vulnerable place. When you have to reassess your whole sense of self and belief system, then it's just a very vulnerable place. And this is what Venus square Pluto is asking us to do, to be reborn into the Piscean age, in a rebirth of our feminine archetype. It means we've got to like go way back in time and reevaluate everything we've been told about science and history and the truth. And it's like, so keep in mind though, because the world is in this really intense place right now where all this darkness is coming to light. And it's like, they want our energy on that. They want our attention on the fear and how horrible everything is, and it's falling apart and it's bad, 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 right? And it's like, that shit's been there. It's been going on for a long time. We just haven't been wanting to look at it. We haven't been able to see it. And it's like, it's actually coming to the surface right now because of the light that's dismantling this paradigm, right? So this light, this new energy is coming in, which is like that Uranus and Taurus. Because Mercury, the sun and Mercury just passed each other, right? In Pisces, Mercury going backwards, the sun going forward, but they're both in trine to the north node of the moon. Speaking of how are we going to get to where we're trying to go? The path forward. In trine, it's very harmonious, but it is saying a complete rearranging of our psychic self, of our thoughts process, of the way we see ourselves. With the sun, it's about our identity. And so it's like, massive rearranging has to happen. But in trying to the north node, it's like, we can do this. We can do it, right? Step by step. Just face a little bit more darkness, clear a little bit more lies, reveal a little bit more truth, assimilate to all that, But Mercury is also in a sextile with Uranus. which also puts it into a semi-sextile with Black Moon, Lilith, and Chiron. So again, and then we've got Mars in sextile to the Sun. We got Jupiter in sextile to Neptune. And Jupiter and Neptune were an exact sextile, and then Jupiter moved to 18, and now Neptune's at 18, and so they're together again today for another exact sextile. And so again, the planets are just lining up in this star pattern. We're creating something new. We're building a new grid, and so that Mercury and sextile to Uranus and semi-sextile into Black Moon, Lilith, and Chiron is saying, yep, we got to clear. We got to bring this darkness out of the shadows, the lies into the light, and evaluate whether or not they're true, or, kind of bring it into, we have to bring it into our psyche in order to have these massive changes in our subconscious. But that Mercury sextile Uranus is talking about, we can, in trying the North Node, it's like, but we can do this. It's like, it's a massive adjustment, but we can do it. And it's about the light trying to come in. And so this massive bloom of crazy, insane darkness, seems like it can't get any worse, but it keeps doing it. They want our attention on this gloom and doom and fear. And it is created. Okay. And we have to understand and remember that we, especially souls following this work, like, we are projectors. And so what happens is, in our psyche, we create this reality in a collective. And so the control energies will plant seeds of what we want to create, right? Of what they want us to create. And this grid pattern that keeps being the flower of life pattern that keeps being created in the star pattern, or the planets and the way that they're lining up, is saying it's a new grid, right? And that's the Pluto is this, like, the dismantling of everything we thought we were and the fabric of our reality. It's like this fabric is old and worn and it's starting to fray, and but that's actually what's happening, and that's this chaos in our world. But the reason why it's happening is because the light is coming in, dismantling it, and we've got to bring it to the surface, to be revealed in order to be healed. And so, there's a lot going on. I'll be back with another update as we sit with this incredibly powerful and potent time that moving into. And it is a really powerful, it's a moment, it's these times where you have to kind of, we all have to do our life. We have to make our money. We have to, do that stuff. But it's the more we can be present with what's happening on a spiritual level and create that, just being present in the light's coming in, and I'm here for that. And being present with these shifts that are trying to happen, because you need to adjust to these shifts, right? Like, we need space in our lives to do that. And so just like trying to claim space to allow for these adjustments, get plenty of rest, get out in nature, reset your vibrational field, and just stay present with the epic times that we're in. And you've been waiting for this and working for this for a long time. And here we are. So I look forward to seeing you soon on the next update. Hang in there on this crazy ride, and I will see you next time. Until then, I'm Adrienne Elise. Namaste.